TacoCast. I'm Crystal.
I'm Will.
And you're our audience. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome.
So we don't have a topic.
Nope.
Again, that's my fault.
Yeah, we didn't. I went through the suggestions and the comments from the last three podcasts, and nothing. The last one we did, people were wishing me happy Father's Day. A couple people said that they missed their fathers, who they've also lost their fathers along with me, obviously. But no real suggestions. One topic that people would like us to cover, I don't know if we can make an entire video out of it, but they'd like to hear our take on what do we think of the autonomous zones that have popped up in, well, the one in Seattle is still going. The one in Portland got shut down by the police that came in, strong-armed them, got them the hell out of there. And these autonomous zones have popped up in other countries as well. What do you what is your take on it, and what do you think about it?
Well, I think we went over this a while back. As disillusioned as I am with human behavior a lot of time, I do ultimately feel like people, if left to their own devices, will make good choices and do good things, and am a bit more of an anarchist than you are.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a fan, but I feel like if there's a large group of people who feel like they can self-govern better than the governing body that they are currently under, have at it. Enjoy.
Well, when it comes to self-governing, I think you have to look at the entire, totality of it. The Amish, they self-govern themselves. They don't have a huge crime problem. In Seattle, where the autonomous zone was set up, we've had one murder, we've had 4 shootings, and we've had countless robberies and assaults and attempted rapes
I've
in the
heard
autonomous
that,
zone.
but people that I've talked to in the autonomous zone are saying that a lot of that isn't actually happening.
Well, those who have been assaulted and shot are definitely in the hospital. And the one kid who was murdered is definitely dead.
Yeah, I did.
So they can
that.
deny it as much as they want.
Well, nobody denied the murder.
You just said it's not happening.
You listed a variety of things.
The only thing I can't clarify and factually support is the attempted rape. Those who were assaulted went to the police afterwards. They filled out actual police reports. The people who were shot went to the hospital. The kid who was murdered went to the morgue.
Yes.
So there's actual factual information that supports the fact that these crimes are happening.
I think maybe the issue here is that you're using plurals, and there's been one person shot, one person murdered, one person assaulted. Actually, two people
all right,
assaulted.
there are 2 guys who are still alive who are in Harborview Medical Hospital because they were shot there. One kid is dead. That's plural. That's singular.
I think the thing is that you're kind of trying to make it out to be a larger problem than it is.
I think the entire thing is a problem.
Yeah.
See, that's because you're an anarchist and I'm not. I support the police and law and order, and you, want everybody just to run around, like a bunch of hippies and do what they want with no rule of law. And the people who are enforcing the rule of law there are, they're doing all the same things that they complained about the police departments.
Are they?
Well, from the videos that I've seen online about the one guy who was wearing a pin, did you see that video? The guy was wearing a pin, and the other guy punched him in the face and knocked him to the ground. And because he said the pin that he was wearing was pro-law enforcement, when it's actually a pin that was for the Humane Society for pet adoption.
No, I haven't seen that video.
Yeah, it went viral. It had something like 14 million views in the first day. So I'm sorry you didn't see that one. But and he was complaining. He goes, maybe what we should do is not do what the police say, that we say the police are over aggressive, and here these two guys are. The one who punched him was holding an AR-15, and he had a handgun on his side, and he is the acting security force or a security force member, and did this to someone who he thought was pro-police. It's You can't have it both ways.
No, you definitely can't. So you think people can't govern themselves? That they
I
require
think they can. I think what you need to do is you need to remove the bad apples from the pot before you decide that you're going to self-govern.
Okay. How would one go about doing that?
I don't know. It's not my problem. I'm not going to live in the autonomous zone. I wouldn't live anywhere near an autonomous zone, nor would I allow my children inside of an autonomous zone. If my daughter inside, decided that she wanted to go to the autonomous zone, I would lock the doors and change it after she left.
You would lock the doors, but
she ain't coming back in my house. I ain't having no hippy dippy, love child living in my house.
Yeah, that's not how that works. I'm sorry to tell you that. Yeah, see, I think that people are able to self-govern. And I'd like to point out...
To a point, I think we can. But when it comes to law and order, I think that we need to have the police there. Without the police, we're going to have, like you wish for, complete anarchy.
There's nothing inherently wrong with anarchy. It's just a lack of structure.
When you were at work the other day and somebody was jiggling the handle, trying to get in when there's not supposed to be anybody else there.
That totally happened.
Who did you want to call?
I was texting my husband. I was like, I think there's somebody outside trying to get into the building. I keep hearing the handle move, and my office is like not where I can see like windows or anything, so I literally have to be like, look down the hallway.
So who did you want to call? Did you want to call two of your friends to come to protect you, or did you want to call, I don't know, the police? If there really was someone trying to break in, who would you call?
I would probably have called my friends.
Which friend would come in and save you?
My lovely husband.
That's not your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm never going to be your friend.
So, I'm gonna walk this back a little bit. Before decades ago, before I started working in the medical field, I worked retail for a while. I don't recommend working retail. People
have to work though.
People have to work. I don't recommend working retail. Because people are and I just spent the last portion of our podcast talking about how I think people are inherently good and can handle themselves, except for when they're in a JCPenney's buying sweaters, in which case they're huge pieces of shit.
I worked retail once in my life, and that was in the 80s. I worked at a Target store during the Cabbage Patch doll craze. And at the same time, it was the Cabbage Patch dolls, Cabbage Patch dolls, California raisins at the same time. So my life sucked. Every day I went to work, I was like, please, put me somewhere where nobody ever sees me again. I don't even want to be here anymore. And finally, everybody in our department quit. We were just like, we couldn't take it anymore. You go to work and you knew within the first hour of being there, you were going to be physically assaulted because somebody wanted a Cabbage Patch doll and they believed that you were hiding them. That was it for me. I was like that. I swore off retail after that. Never doing it again. But people lose their freaking minds. And we actually had to have the Minneapolis Police Department stationed in the actual Target store just to protect the employees from the customers.
Yeah, people when they're shopping, I feel like retail workers should be allowed, you should be allowed to assault people.
Guns?
No, because people would definitely die, but maybe tasers.
Pepper spray?
Tranquilizer darts.
Ooh, that would have been good. I would have liked some tranquilizer darts. But then the aisles would just be stacked the bodies.
Yeah, well, it makes it harder for other people to get in, so it's a win-win.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
I didn't actually
Speed
ever
bumps.
work at
Shopping
a
cart.
at a
Because they would have rolled over
JCPenney.
each other with the shopping cart to get a cabbage
They
patch
would have.
doll.
They people would. I didn't actually work in a JCPenney. I worked in I worked in a Kmart and I worked at a Shopko for all of a week, 2 weeks. I had
Long-term employee, huh?
right,
Did you
yeah.
make employee of the month that week?
Yeah, actually, I got shit canned. Because I had a customer.
You?
Yeah, I know, right? I had a customer that came through, and my check stand is literally right in front of a display that has hand towels. And it.
Well, we don't need to tell the story about how people can't do math.
No. So it's got hand towels, and it says 4 for $5, and that's $1.25 a piece, right? And this lady is arguing with me about the cost of the hand towel, trying to say it's $1, and I'm like, well, ma'am, if it was $1, they'd be four for $4 because that's $1 a piece, but they're 4 for $5, so your hand towel is in fact $1.25. And yeah, she argued with me, and I even attempted to show her the math, and she said I was wrong. At which point I said that I didn't have time to handle her if she was going to be stupid, and could she please go be dumb at customer service? And I was no longer employed.
What?
At that.
What? I can't believe that. So tell me, how many other jobs have you been fired from?
I think that's just it. I have quit a number of jobs. I used to work at the comic book store. I was cleaning when I was 13. I used to clean the comic book store in exchange for free comics.
Okay.
And then I worked McDonald's, which yeah, that was awful. I wasn't cute enough to work the register, so they
Do you what?
yeah, at the time, only people that looked a certain way got to work the register, so I had to work back in the grill.
Wow.
Yeah, sexism at its
Sexist.
finest.
Well, I mean, it's McDonald's.
I'm like, just because I'm a plain Jane doesn't mean I can't math, right?
You're not a plain Jane. You weren't a plain Jane then, and you're not a plain Jane now. No, you're not. You're sexy.
Aw, thank you, babe.
See, how many jobs have I been fired from? Well, I know I've been fired from 2, but one job I was fired from and quit at the same time. And then I got into it with the boss because he wouldn't let me quit. He's like, "No, you're fired." I said, "No, I quit. I already turned in my information to the personnel and said I quit. You can't fire me after I quit."
I think that counts as a quitting, not as a
Yeah.
firing.
But he actually disputed it for unemployment.
Well, if you quit, are you eligible for unemployment?
I had a viable reason. He violated my contract because I was an independent contractor. So I said, "No, take me to court. I quit. I'm not going to put up with this anymore." And I told them, "Take me to court. Sue me for breach of contract."
And
There was a right to work state.
uh,
So, and I was fired from Red Lion. I worked at Red Lion hotels. I worked in.
that was a while ago.
Yeah, I was fired from there.
Lizard was what, 3, 2?
I don't know,
Super
somewhere in there.
little.
But I was fired from there because I was going to kill a waitress.
Honey, we're on television. You should
I know.
probably expand on that and make sure that people know that you weren't actually going to kill a waitress.
I was actually going to kill a waitress. Expand on that, please. Will, please, come on. No, she stole money from the company. She was a pain in the ass of everybody, and they couldn't figure out how to terminate her from the company, and because they didn't have enough information at that time in order to actually fire her and have her arrested for the theft. But we all knew it was happening. It was like every night the till, there in the cafe was short every night. And every night, when the till ran short, they wouldn't pay the waitresses out their tips. And this happened every single night she worked. And I mean, it was like nights that she didn't work, there never was a problem. The nights that she worked, every night the till was short. And it got to the point where she was being physically aggressive towards my friend and trying to get my friend fired for sexual harassment. And she had made up the entire situation. And I was the only one who could prove that it didn't happen. And one day I got into the point where I had been working 16-hour shifts. So I would work 16 hours. They'd give me 4 hours off and they'd give me a room in the hotel to sleep in. And then I'd come back and I'd work another 16 hours. And this would go on 5, 6 days a week. And then they'd give me 3 days off. And then I'd repeat the entire process again. And so I was extremely tired. And this lady she had irked my last nerve when I saw her walking out the back door counting cash. And I was like, she stole that from the freaking till. That's the till money. Yeah, I mean, and we're not talking, tips, we're not talking a high-end restaurant here. This is a cafe in a hotel. And she was counting hundreds of dollars in cash from, taking it out of her like little apron and sitting there counting it as she walked down the hallway and then walked out the door. And I saw her and I'm just like, something in my head just said, maybe it was PTSD too. A little bit of that on top of everything else. And the sleep. That was going to hurt her. Oh boy, was I going to hurt her.
Sleep deprivation does make people do stuff that they...
That was the only person that in the civilian world that I wanted to kill. Where I actually physically really thought about it, how I was going to do it. I was just going to knock her out, put her in my trunk of my car, take her to the middle of the desert.
Okay.
I didn't do it. Bags of lie.
Okay, you just
saying.
No.
Well, all right. So, besides that, I have every other job that I've ever had, I've either quit. I've given notice. Have you given notice at the jobs you quit, or you just quit? So forget it.
Well, one of them I still feel guilty about. It's been decades. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and one of them had deliberately booked me when they knew I was working at the other one. Aw, thank you, babe. And so I had told my boss originally, like, I can't come in. I can't come in. I'm working my other job. And she I don't know why she did this, because it was literally the cafe at a Kmart. Like, it's not a high-end job, right? It's not pressing, you need me definitely more than I need you kind of employment situation. And she's like, well, you better come in or you're not working. And I was like, I make more money here. I was literally still just working at this cafe because I knew that you needed help. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So, either fix it or I'm not showing up. And then she never fixed it. And the day that I was supposed to be there to work, she still hadn't fixed it. So I called, and she was avoiding my call. So I talked to the store manager, and it was literally dude's first day, which is why I feel bad, because it was his first day working. And I was like, yeah, I work at the cafe and I'm not coming in. I quit. I told her to fix it and she didn't. So enjoy that. And he was just like, and then I was like, oh shit, it's his first day. And then I went and did that to him, and it's not even his fault.
I had an employer that I worked for when I was in college, and I worked for him in his restaurant. And as a side job, I would help. He owned a construction company. So kind of a long story short, but he bought the restaurant and had the restaurant. He bought it for his ex-wife. he had no desire to ever own a restaurant. And he gave up on it, and he came to me and the one waitress one day after everybody quit, and it was my first day on the job, and he said, "You know how to cook?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you're the head chef now." And he gave me the keys to the place, a piece of paper with a combination to the safe, and said, "Run it. Do whatever the hell you want to do. As long as you don't burn the place down, or cause food poisoning, kill a bunch of people, it's yours." So me and the one waitress who was left working, we hired an entire crew, skeleton crew, and we got people to come in. We ran the business, and we did it successfully for 6 months until the IRS seized it because he didn't pay the taxes on it, and he didn't tell us that we had to pay the taxes on it. He never told us, and he'd come in every once in a while and come into the bar and just drink whatever the hell he wanted and then leave. We never saw him. But when I was working for his construction company as well, doing rebar, for foundation work, and he refused to allow me to quit that side gig. Yeah, because he's like, "Well, you're running my restaurant, and you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, in this restaurant, and supplies and cash in the safe. You can't leave." And I said, "Well, I'll give you 2 weeks." I gave him a 2 weeks notice, and he's like, "Well, can you work another week? I got these other jobs. I really got to get these done. I'm short staffed." And I'm like, "Fine." So I worked another week. Now I'm in it 3 weeks. So my notice was saying, "Look, I have school full time. I'm working a full time job plus this part time job. I have to call it quits here. This is way too much. This was just supposed to be a side hustle, for a little bit extra cash on the weekends, and that's it." But he refused to allow me to quit, and I'm like, "I have to leave this job." And after 3 weeks, he's like, "No, you can't leave." And I'm like, "No, actually, I can. I am leaving. I am leaving this job. I'm sorry." And he's like, "No." He goes, "If you leave this job, give me the keys back to the restaurant." By now, I have 16 people working for the restaurant. And if I give him the keys, that's put 16 people out of a job. So he had me in this spiral where I couldn't leave.
Damn.
And even after the IRS seized his restaurant and they locked us out, he got the keys back the next day, and he came in and said, "Just take whatever food you want from the place," and we're like, "Okay." So I went and cleaned out all the lobster and everything. Everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm taking out the vegetables and everything else." I'm like, I went straight to the cooler and took all the live lobsters, put them all in a big, huge tub, and then dumped them into a trash can in the back of my car. I actually took a 5-gallon trash can, put it in the back seat of my car, filled it half full of water, and I dumped all the live lobsters in it. And I went downtown, and I went to every restaurant that I could think of that sold lobster. And I'm like, "I got fresh lobsters, and they're live lobsters in the car if you want to buy them." But I ended up working for his construction company for almost another 3 months after that. Because he wouldn't let me leave until it was wintertime. It's the only reason why I stopped working for his construction company, because he wasn't working during the winter. I'm like, thank God. But yeah, my experience working over a job where my employer wouldn't even let me leave.
That's awful.
Yeah. He never did get his restaurant back though, or any money out of it. But then I think he wrote it all off as a tax loss because he bought it for his wife at the time, and then she became the ex-wife, and she didn't want anything to do with it, and she moved out of state, so he was stuck with. I think he put $4.5 million into this restaurant, to set up this restaurant and everything else for her, and then she didn't want it, and he's like, "I can't sell it. Nobody wants this damn thing." Because he had it on the market for quite a long time, and the entire time that we ran it in that 6 months, it was up for sale, but he got no offers on it at all. So it's not. I think a Mexican restaurant or Chinese. Last time I checked, been a while since I've been there. I have no reason to go to that town, so still have matchbooks in the house from it though.
Jesus Christ.
Downstairs in the basement in that keepsake chest of mine, I've got a couple books of matches from the restaurant. He named it Jezebel's, after the whore in the Bible. Not joking. After his wife didn't want it, he changed the name of it from Hilltop to Jezebel. All right. Anything else you'd like to add today?
Nope. Nope. I think we're good.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
So, this episode will be uploaded later on than our normal podcast episodes, and each episode from here on out for the next 4 weeks will be uploaded later than normal, and that is because I'm uploading them at this to upload them to the time when people are actually watching them. We've been uploading them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and by looking at the actual metrics of the actual videos, we are having a preponderance of people who are watching the actual videos at between 4 and 6 p.m. on Sundays, not at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously, people are busy, so we're going to see what the actual view count is versus uploading them later on. If maybe that fits better in people's times. And 4 and 6 o'clock would also work better for me and for you, maybe. Also for doing maybe some lives.
No. Lives.
So, 4 or 6 o'clock our time. Depending on where you're watching, what day
Can't
you're
do
watching
live
it.
next Sunday, though.
Huh?
Can't do live next Sunday.
No, I can't either.
Yeah, next
Well,
Sunday.
I'm not saying we're going to do it every weekend, but we can. 4 or 6 o'clock works a lot better for me to actually do live stream on this channel, because I have to finish up all the stuff for my other channels. So, thank you everyone for joining us today and listening to us ramble on about nothing and everything. So I hope you enjoy it. Please, don't forget to give this a thumbs up, like it, share it, and do all the crazy, things that YouTube wants you to do when you watch a video.
Does it ring the triangle?
Huh?
Click the bell, ring the triangle.
Is it a triangle?
Shuffle the deck.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure. I'm
yeah.
just,
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, do all that
adding
stuff.
random things.
Talk 50 of your friends into becoming subscribers as well. Because we've been sitting at 280, 283 right in there for a couple of months now. Nobody else likes us because nobody else is seeing us, and it makes us sad. Bye, everyone. Tell them bye.